This episode of Limit Break Radio is made possible by our generous Patreon donors, including Midgie McGoogle of Leviathan, Gigapantsu of Excalibur, Mellow Targaryen of Fairy. Thank you so much for your support. If you want to support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio.
Coming up this week on Checkpoint Radio, we'll preview the action out at the PUBG Invitational, which has a whopping $2 million on the line. Plus, what is going on with Fortnite? In-game items have been mysteriously disappearing and ending up in the real world? We'll tell you all about it coming up on your source for esports and video game discussions, Checkpoint Radio from Westwood One. Join me, Nate, Robbie Norris, and Joe for Checkpoint Radio. Listen on demand Tuesdays at our website at checkpointradio.com.
Live.
Ever had a rough day? A day so crummy that you just wanted to snuggle a warm, fuzzy creature in your hands? I know that I do. And when that day hits, I go down to Uncle Lloyd's petting zoo, filled with tiny, warm woodland creatures for you to wrap your hands around. We range from cuddly coral cats to doggone delightful doggos and puppers. At a reasonable 100 gil per hour, cost is no issue to bask in the services of Uncle Lloyd's petting zoo. And if you need a more intimate session, we offer special VIP rooms. The price is halved if you open Uncle Lloyd's gazing hole. Uncle Lloyd's Petting Zoo in sunny southern Lenosha. The farm is never that far away.
Live from Eorzea.
Limit Break. With your hosts, Unmiro.
Now behold the horror you have wrought.
Kahlo.
I said don't take your clothes off.
Juxtaposition.
I don't get it.
And Nika.
Oh my god.
LimitBreakRadio.com.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Limit Break Radio, episode 166. Glad to have you along, twitch.tv/Limit Break Radio. LimitBreakRadio.com to subscribe to the podcast. We want to hear from you. Of course, this past week, we experienced getting FanFest 2018 tickets. Now, no spoilers. We will be announcing whether or not Limit Break Radio will have a presence out at FanFest today. It'll come in a little bit later on in the show. But the point is, we want to hear from you. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord to take your calls on whether or not you were able to get a FanFest 2018 ticket. Of course, joining me is the Limit Break Radio crew, Kahlo Landis.
Yeah, boy.
Juxtaposition. And Nika Kayanian. You guys don't generally say things at that.
Sometimes, sometimes you pause and wait for us to, and sometimes you don't, and you never know.
Prepared for it.
You never know when. So
Had I not said anything, you'd have just looked at me and been like, "No, you're not going to say anything. You're just going to leave me hanging." So I'd rather jump in there and say something.
Anyway, thanks for joining us. Appreciate having you along. And I just realized that I don't have the studio ready to go.
Why don't you have that?
It's okay. Nika's not there yet, anyhow.
yes, I am.
We'll get that up here in just a second because we are, of course, broadcasting live from Eorzea. Join us if you'd like. That's on the Goblet, 5th Ward, plot number 30.
Look at Juxta over there.
On Sargentana server.
Doing absolutely nothing, right?
What?
After doing the show a couple weeks ago, right, when you and Nika had to carry it, and you're like, man, it really sucks when you're trying to do something and, like, people aren't helping you, like, fill the air and stuff. And here he is trying to get the studio up, and you could have jumped in there now that you know how hard that is and helped him, and instead, you're just over there probably thinking about food.
Yeah.
I was thinking about drops, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, think about a good one to do.
So apparently you've got a game. You've got a game for us.
I do. It's a really fun game.
Interesting.
Well, hold on.
Well,
wait, because we actually have actual stuff to talk about first. So if we have time, if we have time, maybe we'll play your game.
How much stuff is there to talk about Final Fantasy XIV? Let's be real here.
Well,
there's plenty to talk about this week.
Not to mention, we actually got an article from outside of our sort of like realm of influence, but that does sort of relate to us. So we're going to talk about that a little bit as well. And if I need to, I have a few emails in my back pocket that I could pull out of nowhere.
Emails in your back pocket?
Keep them in your pocket.
They should probably be on the and the outline.
These are emergency. What if Juxta tries to do something on the show? Shit, we need something to read emails, and I want to like use them up on a regular show.
Penis.
Anyway, thanks for joining us. Appreciate having you along. Of course, yes, we're going to be talking about FanFest 2018 ticket acquisition. That's what I meant to say. And we want to hear from you. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord to give us a call. We're actually going to open up the show with a call from he's a first-time caller, apparently from Taiwan, so he stayed up super late to give us a call here on the show. So let's hear it from Zio Sarup on Tonberry. What's going on, Zio?
Hello, everybody.
Thanks for giving us a call here on Limit Break Radio and for staying up late to listen to the show. What's up?
Thanks for having me. So I'm not going to talk about FanFest because I don't give a shit about it.
That's right. Yeah, you're nowhere in the FanFest area. That's right. So anyway, what you want to talk about today?
So you've been talking about World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy XIV in the recent episodes.
Yeah. Speak up a little bit. It's a little bit tough to hear you.
I want to give you my experience with it because last year I was working 12 hours a day plus my commute. 14 hours a day I was outside of the house.
Oh my!
I
wow.
was playing 14. I played for a lot of 14 from patch 3.2 till the start of Stormblood. A couple of months into Stormblood, maybe one actually. And the fact is, I had very little time to play, so 13 was the perfect game for me to play. This year, I got half a day, so I was home at the normal time, like at 4 p.m., 5 p.m., and I went back to World of Warcraft. I played World of Warcraft for like 10 years.
Okay.
What I want to talk about is the fact that I think you misunderstand when you talk about 14, the point that Yoshida tried to make once when he said, play other games.
Okay.
I think that's the reason that is true. Like 14 is a game that is good to play if you have very little time. I couldn't play WoW when I was doing 14 hours a day because I didn't have the time reasonably to do anything in the game. 14 I could, and I could do everything between the period in Heavensward. I got to level every single class, including gatherers and crafters, to max. I went up to A12 Savage. I cleared everything, and I was having a ton of fun. As soon as I had time, I kept playing 14 for a month. Start of Stormblood, I arrived at the Azure Steppes. Few quests in, when they start doing the Makora, what the fuck, I screamed at my screen. I was like, why am so bored? I couldn't play for so long. This is a game you can't play for a long period of time. And I think we have a bad view of it because in the past, 11 was a game you could play all and all and all.
Sure.
But actually, 14 gives you time to play other games. You play Watch Leader 14 and you play other games. Like, I can now play fighting games. I go crazy for fighting games. There are so many good fighting games.
Right.
Sorry, there's Norris here. I would nerd about it with Norris. But yes, that's my whole thing.
Okay, so I think that this is an interesting note to start the show off on because, you know, I do think that there has been some intentional design to make the time sink that you need to be able to play FF14 more, you know, reasonable, right? Like, No one needs the FF11 leveling dichotomy.
And we've had multiple
where you spend, the better part of months and months and months leveling up to get to cap. Here's one of the things though, is that this is still though fundamentally an MMO, and an MMO that has a subscription cost. So I want more time spent doing things in FF14. I do think that you bring up a great point, that FF14 is not a game that is really meant to be played in long fits and spurts,
We've
right?
had multiple casual players say this game is perfect for what they want.
Exactly. And that's fine. I'm not begrudging anyone of any of that. However, when you contrast that against the way that other MMOs express their value, that's one of the things that I'm so struck by in ESO, where I'm not even maybe a quarter of the way through the total leveling system that brings you up to, what is it, champion level 750 or whatever
I think
it is.
That's the cap, yeah.
Right? So I'm barely even a chunk into that, but I'm able to experience a ton of that game, and it compels me to want to log in and want to play it out of enthusiasm, as opposed to FF14 that seems to, like, most of the driving emotion to logging into 14 is out of guilt these days.
Well,
but a lot of that is like, if I don't log in, I miss out on my tone cap for the week. I miss out on getting my drop for the week.
Your tones?
No, but what else are you supposed to be compelled by at this point? Like, if the compelling thing that I get out of MMOs is improving my character over a long period and having an interesting world that character can inhabit and become a part of. And it just seems like FF14 is so good at funneling the players into specific systems that it wants you to go to at different points. We've even felt that when we were funneled back into old, fates and old zones that weren't,
through
being
the old
used
relic quests.
through relic quests and stuff like that. Now they've built an entirely separate zone to be able to kind of house that part of the game. And to me, it ends up at the end of the day feeling incredibly disjointed as an MMO experience. And that is, I think, incredibly problematic, because it doesn't, when I say, the rewards are not good enough, what I'm saying is that FF14 is not doing a good enough job to motivate me as a player to want to do any of these things. And that, that's just my opinion, and that may just be what it is. But when you look at the population of FF14, the amount of people logging in, and the massive population fall off that happens 2 weeks outside of a patch, that tells me that I'm not crazy in experiencing that emotion or that drag on enthusiasm, because it seems like the majority of the player base is also doing the exact same thing. And like Zio had said, playing other games. That's fine. But if I'm buying an MMO at a, what was it, $60 price tag when it had first launched, and then every expansion has been $40, and I'm paying $12 a month on top of it. If I'm investing in a game on that level financially, then I want it to be enough of a commitment where I feel like I can't play ESO at the same time. Not other, first-person shooters or other stuff like that, but I'm a one MMO man, okay? I want to only play one MMO because that's all I feel like I have room in my brain for.
Now,
getting an extremely gay vibe.
To be fair, going back to Zio's original point too, because I completely agree with you. If that's the game they're making, which is a casual MMO experience, maybe that game just isn't for us.
And that's fine. But you know what? If it's a casual MMO experience, then drop the sub.
Yes, if that's what you're doing, it needs to reflect that. But the fact that they do try to put content in there for a hardcore crowd, the fact that they're charging you $14.99 a month and they want you back monthly based on the fact that they are spreading out all of their content, single drips of content, to make sure that you're coming back every single month, I should not be getting less content and casual content for the exact same price that World of Warcraft is charging for considerably more stuff. Even in don't say, well, they can't be done. That can't be done, because Elder Scrolls gives me way more stuff than Final Fantasy XIV ever did, and they don't charge a subscription. And if you just happen to want to actually pay them for what they have, they actually give you money to spend in the cash shop. Yeah. Like, especially after playing ESO, the way that they're conducting Final Fantasy XIV isn't in line with, well, this is a perfect casual game. People who enjoy it, that's great. If you're the casual person, we had a bunch of people last week who were like, this game is perfect for like what me and my wife need. That is absolutely cool. And if it was free to play, I think that it would be perfectly lined up, and I would honestly have no complaints with how Square Enix was conducting themselves at this point. But the way that they, oh my God, I just realized we don't have a cash shop announcement today.
Thank God.
That's ridiculous.
I know, right?
But the
it
way
must be an eat on odd numbered week.
Yeah. But just the way that they conduct themselves, just a lot of it just doesn't vibe with me as a consumer.
Does that make sense, Zio?
So, yes, I think the same thing. My idea is, for the population, I can talk because I was on the JP servers. As JP servers have population all the time.
Yeah, the Japanese...
They don't have World of Warcraft.
Right,
But
yeah, the Japanese servers are massively different when it comes to core population, population drifts and dips. But, just coming from a North American player, I can't tell you how, often I run around Ralger's Reach and I go, where is everyone? Right? Like, or where I'll be running around Kugane and go, where is everyone? I mean, granted, now they're all hanging out next to Heaven on High and Ruby Sea, but even previous to that, it was like, dude, I don't even know that there are people playing this game. As an MMO player, as a new MMO player, if I logged in and I saw that, I would think that, the 3 starting cities are like newbie zones. You know what I mean? Like, and that's not what they are. That's not how the world should be designed. And I think that when you do use that design as sort of the overworld as your leveling platform, then, you really end up choking the potential out of what you can do with the world that's supposed to feel alive and breathing.
You made basically the same point I wanted to make. The question I think we should ask is, I don't like the free-to-play idea because free-to-play means shit, but is the game worth this high of a subscription? Like, if the subscription was $5 instead, wouldn't it be better?
I mean, that's a step in the right direction, but
I think Square Enix needs to decide what their end goal is, because I've actually never thought about this before, and this is actually like making me stop and be like, oh, well, yeah, okay, so Elder Scrolls and World of Warcraft are charging the same price and giving more content. So then Square Enix needs to stop and think for a second. Do they want to provide us with that level of content? Are they going to use our subscription that we're currently paying at the same tier as other MMOs to provide that level of content? They need to make that choice, because if they're not, and their goal is to just provide a casual MMO for casual content, I think they could and should reduce the sub.
I agree. I mean, reducing the sub or making it optional, much in the way that ESO does, I think is a really smart idea. Because if you can make the player see the value in investing in your game, then I think you've done much more than Square Enix has been doing to try to drive the sentiment of FF14
Perfect example. After my first night of playing ESO, because you had bought it for me, so I didn't have to put any money down on that. I was essentially playing this game 100% for free.
Right.
And after 2-3 hours of playing it, when I realized, wow, I can't fit all this stuff in my bag, I need that bottomless crafting bag that comes with the $15.
Yeah.
I started looking into the ESO Plus benefits, and they're like, when you sub for a month, like every month that you're subbed, you actually get 1,500 crown, which is essentially the currency that you use in the store, to then use in the store.
Right.
So I'm like, so I'm going to give you my 15-month sub, and then you're going to give me $15 to spend
Because
in the store?
Because they don't. I mean, like
they're essentially paying you to sub, and at that point too, I had kind of felt like what you've shown me so far is worth at least $15. I want to give you money because what you've done is worth money.
What they have essentially done is they have given you $30 in digital goods, which cost them nothing. Nothing. Fucking all of this cash shop shit that Square Enix keeps shoveling into their fucking cash shop costs nothing for them to make. And Bethesda, God bless them, understands that. And they go, okay, well, if you're giving me $15 of real, honest-to-God money that you earned at your fucking job, then we're going to give you $30 of digital value.
Oh, and on top of that, you also get access to all the DLC.
Yeah,
too.
it's actually way more than that because of the DLC access. But when you strip it away and you go, oh, you get the bottomless crafting bag, which feels like that's the $15 investment right there. And you also get 1,500 crowns to spend any way you want them. Again, that's double the value. That's literally $30 in value, but you're buying digital goods. It means nothing to Bethesda. Why would anyone not? Like, that's one of the most brilliant in-game subscription systems that I've seen in a long time. And Zio, I do think that you bring up a good point. That is what we are paying now worth what we're getting in content? And I would say definitively no. It hasn't been for a while, at least in all of Stormblood. Maybe for half of Heavensward it hasn't been. Anything to...
Totally agree.
What was that, Zio? Sorry.
Totally agree. So, thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, thank you for the call. We appreciate it. Getting the show started off right
for a long time.
Oh man, well we are really happy that we could take your call, and I know that it's super late and that you've stayed up super late to be able to give us a call.
I don't have to work finally for the first time in 2 years on a Monday, so
that's wow, excellent. Yeah. Zio, thank you so much for listening to Limit Break Radio, for giving us a call, and for giving us your perspective on what we may have missed about FF14. And I do think you're right that fundamentally FF14 isn't a game that's built to be played logging in every day for 8 hours a day. And I think that dichotomy in all of MMOs is kind of gone, and it probably is for the better, right? Like, I don't think that a MMO that forces you or needs you to be logged in for 4 to 6 hours every single day, that's not sustainable. It's fundamentally unsustainable. And I think that you raise some really good points about the value of what we get out of our subs. So again, I really appreciate your call today.
Appreciate being here. Thank you very much, guys.
All right. Thanks, man. So if you want to call Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. And, if you want to comment about, the value of the subscription, we'll walk down that road with you. It is something that I think is important, and especially we've all kind of identified the way that the content has felt like it's substantially dipped, and I think that you can quantifiably say that it's dipped, especially since A Realm Reborn.
Oh, easily.
And where do we go from here? What's the path forward? What is Square Enix going to do? If they keep adding stuff to the cash shop, then should the game go free to play? Should it drop the sub by half? What do you think? Give us a call. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715. All right. With that said, let's finally, I guess, get into some FF14 news.
This is a Limit Breaking News Update.
All right, guys, so last show we mentioned that a producer live letter was on the horizon. Now, if you've downloaded that podcast, then, or if you've downloaded the podcast, that already happened yesterday. For us here live, though, that will go on tomorrow, which just goes to show that Square Enix hates us, because now by the time we report on it, it's going to be,
6 days old.
6 days old, yes. They also didn't really mention what it was going to be about, but if I had to put my bet out there, it's probably going to be Monster Hunter related. Have you?
Why?
Have you actually seen? They actually released the trailer for the Final Fantasy stuff that's coming to Monster Hunter. Have you seen it?
Yes.
It looks pretty awesome. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's not fair.
No, you're right. It isn't fair. But I just want to, since Nika hasn't seen it. All right, so first of all, Estinian's Dragoon gear is coming to Monster Hunter. And I think that, like, it looks like some of the moves are also, like, sort of being transferred over because it basically shows a bunch of Dragoons fighting Behemoth, who looks terrific, by the way, and it looks fucking awesome. And from what I understand, I think that's going to be a permanent staple of Monster Hunter 9. I don't think it's just like a one-time
like an event or something.
Yes, people in chat can correct me if that's true.
But in that trailer, okay, so am I crazy? Like, they were using the same Dragoon animations that you normally have. But all of the animations had weight. It felt like the actual hits were landing. Like, it was really cool to watch. And I was like,
that's Monster Hunter 1
that's how that move is supposed to, like, resonate with me?
Yeah. Oh. Yes. Yeah.
Oh.
So I think tomorrow we'll probably get our side of the trailer, which shows all the Monster Hunter stuff coming to Final Fantasy. And again, from what I've heard, the rumors going around is that this isn't just going to be like a one-time event. This will be a permanent addition to content. And from what we've, the little that we have heard is that it's not just going to be a fate somewhere. It's actually going to be at least like a trial, like an 8-person trial.
That's kind of cool. I'm into it. I mean, well, you know, they're out of primals to throw at us for 8 people trials.
So the question is, are we going to get like actual new armor and weapons, or are you just going to reskin something, Square Enix?
I don't know.
Get a minion, one of those little cats to follow you around.
At the very least, probably. But man, let me tell you, if we get even
I'd be kind of okay with that minion. Weirdly.
If we get even half
Except
of
it's a
what...
wind-up. It's not an actual one.
If we get even half the content of what we saw like in the Monster Hunter trailer, if they even put half of that effort into what they're giving us in FF14, this might actually be okay.
Okay, but we'll settle for a third.
I mean,
it could just be the FF13 fates all over again. You know what I mean? Like,
it very well could be.
It could, or
I don't expect anything more than that, honestly.
Well, and to be fair, if it is timed in about 2 years, we'll see it in the cash shop anyway.
I mean, the barrier for entry is probably going to be real low because they know that newbies are going to want to do it too.
They said that you gotta be up to like roughly the Azim steps.
Okay,
that's right, because I think it takes place in the Azim steps.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see. We'll see. Look forward to that, guys.
Prepare your credit cards for those jump potions, newbies.
Wow. Yeah. All right. So you guys remember that?
Sad but true. It's not funny when you say
real things.
Real things. Yeah.
How about that?
Sorry.
Yeah. Aiming right for the heart there. You guys remember that terrible contest that we mentioned a few weeks ago?
No.
Oh, all right. Here. Sorry. Let me be a little bit more specific. The one about taking screenshots of your most prized possession in FF14. Well, the 50 winners were selected and announced. I went through a few of them myself. Oh my god!
I'm sorry, I thought it was garbage.
All right, hang on. I'm bringing them up.
Do we have to?
So bad.
Really? Are they?
It's like the.
This is why I made a game, so we'd have to waste time on screenshot.
I looked at 2 of them. One of them was just a fucking mount. Like, okay, cool, you like a fucking mount.
Okay, all right. Let's take. Do you want to suggest a name?
Let's start with the first one. Let's
Penelope Rose.
Yep. There you go. Why? I mean, look, some of these are pretty decent screenshots. I mean, Square Enix gives us the tools to take good screenshots in the game, so fine. But
it's awful.
What's that even supposed to be?
I don't even.
What's so prized about that one?
The house.
And I think you can just scroll down. You got to keep going back and clicking on them.
Well, they're not in order, so you'll get.
They're just
find some losers.
Going back to clicking shows you the winners. These are just everybody's.
Yeah, because I saw one that was just like some Taru in the middle of like 1 million like Thanksgiving turkeys.
That's pretty cool though.
Well, if you're just scrolling down though, that's just whoever's entries. You have to.
None of these mean anything to me, and so I don't understand how they mean anything to the people who took the screenshots.
This is kind of clever. They've got the Gilgamesh beat 'em up game, and they called it Battle on the Big Bridge Part 2. That's not bad.
What? That's
not terrible.
What?
Okay, except why is that a prized possession? That was like a free thing they got from an event.
We could do that in the studio right now.
That's not free. It was a lot of MGP actually.
It was 200K. It was a lot.
That's actually a good screenshot.
That's the thing.
That's
Some
a
of the
great
screenshots, yeah, the screenshots are fine, but still, I just think the idea of this screenshot contest was stupid.
I mean, our fapping the realm screenshots were way better.
Absolutely. What's happening there? Someone just kicking a fat chocobo?
I have no idea.
Or fat chocobo?
Man, so not cool.
Anyway, these guys
fat shaming.
These guys all got prizes that they probably got participating in the last contest anyway.
Yeah,
because nobody ever does these contests.
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, at least 50 people did, I guess, but whatever.
I mean, did you count them?
I didn't.
There could only be like 47 entries. No one will ever be able to tell.
All right, well, let's move on to something a little bit more important here. So yeah, FanFest tickets. They came,
complain about it,
and went, and once again, it was a shit show of epic proportions.
Yes.
Square Enix, honestly, they really thought they had their shit together this time. And to be fair, I don't think that this fell on Square Enix specifically, but they send out their access codes to players, made them wait in a queue, only buy 4 per person. And none of that actually mattered.
You geeks are so gullible.
From what I understand, there was some bug or glitch with the system that they used that basically allowed people to step past the queue without an access code and buy as many tickets as they wanted.
Now Square Enix came out and addressed this claim directly and said that they had found minimal incidents of whatever. So Square Enix in a post kind of denied it.
I don't know, but that post, I'm not happy with that post. I don't think anybody is. Like, I feel like all that Square Enix would have to do, even if it's total bullshit, is to just come out and say, we realized there was a problem. This could have gone better. We're sorry. Literally, that's all they need to say. Like,
yeah.
But instead, they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe how popular we are. This is so cool. Better luck next time. And I'm like, what?
I heard,
how is that going to appease anybody?
I heard rumors that there were people who got to buy like batches of 20 tickets.
That's what I heard as well.
People were claiming that they had bots that could do that. Now, I can assume that as long as they had multiple credit cards, if they went through to investigate, quote unquote, and they see that only 4 are bought per credit card, there's no way they can actually prove that any wrongdoing happened. So if you have a bot that has like 5 credit cards programmed in, each set to buy 4 tickets, like, what can you do, right?
Oh my gosh, who has 5 credit cards?
No, like, you take all your friends' credit cards and you stick them in there and so guarantee that everybody gets their tickets, right?
Or your shitty leets or hackser and have, a whole bunch of stolen credit card numbers.
Nice.
Maybe.
Could have been. To be fair, I have 3 credit cards in my wallet, but 2 of them are expired.
Why do you still have them then?
That's a good question.
Looking at the response from Bayonne, where he says that our ticket vendor explained they had to temporarily pause the access code, but we saw that there are only a very small number of tickets purchased that way. We investigated the purchases and did not find evidence of ineligible purchases. So they're saying that, like, rest assured, there was no wrongdoing that happened here. But, like, they didn't even address the claims that people were saying that if you had the deep URL from after you've, like, gotten through the queue and just passed it off to somebody, that you could just skip the queue. Like, multiple people are saying that they were just passing the URL around and that people were able to, like, open their history and go back and buy more. Like, that's a thing that people are claiming, and Bayonne's post completely ignores that claim, which I did tweet at him. So that's like,
you probably didn't get a response, did you?
Oh no, absolutely not. But
he probably has us all preemptively blocked
at the 14th or something. I thought I tweeted it at him too.
Yeah. So I unfortunately worked up until 3:30, which I think ticket sales went live at like 3 p.m. Eastern. So I wasn't able to. I had to put my fate within the hands of a Nero.
That's right.
Juxta isn't going this year
because he's got a fucking stupid baby.
To be fair, this isn't just the baby's fault.
No, it's the baby. It's the baby's
Fairbear's going in for surgery at some point, so she's going to be out of it. So it's both the girl and the baby's fault.
It's called family.
That's why you bring the girl and the baby with you.
I don't know.
Okay,
my family has never kept me down like that before, and those who have, I just cut them out of my life. So
that's why you don't have family anymore.
I have family. I just have the good family left behind.
The parts of the family tree that are kind of like old, dead, and rotting. You don't need to talk to those parts of that tree.
You just hang out with the cool siblings that don't ask you to babysit and just want to go out drinking.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so I want to adjust. Okay, so Skuro saying it's weird because last year's FanFest, I don't remember hearing this much public outrage about tickets because there wasn't. Last time
there really wasn't.
Was anybody who wanted a ticket and was on the same day that tickets went up for sale.
Pretty much got one. Yeah.
I think the only downside last year,
like 8 hours or 7 hours or something like that. Like it didn't feel like there wasn't an issue.
The only issue was that some people didn't get them, but it's not because anything was fucked up about it.
No, it was just because that like they got on the next day thinking that it wouldn't sell out. But I mean, like, anybody who was on, like this time, people were in the queue at 12:00:01 in the queue. You know, like they were there and they still couldn't get tickets. What I'm wondering though is that when they sent out access codes, did they realize they didn't have as many tickets as they had access codes? Because if that was the case, they should have said something ahead of. I don't know, like warned people. Like I feel like why would you be like, okay? And they also claimed we had more tickets this year than ever before. But I distinctly remember in 2016 them announcing the exact number of tickets available before they went for sale. It was like 8,000 something hundred.
We're back in the Rio this year, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Is the Rio bigger or smaller?
It's smaller.
It's smaller, which is very, very weird because the original reason they moved to the Paris is because the Rio wasn't big enough.
That's what I remember hearing.
But then the Paris apparently treated them really badly, so they wanted to go back to the Rio, I guess. But I don't know if they're going to like reserve more space at the Rio this year or what it is. But I find it hard to believe they have more tickets available this year than ever before, when last year they actually told us how many exact tickets they had before they went for sale.
Did they claim to have more tickets than ever before?
I'm looking at Bayonne's post. We are humbled by the overwhelming response from those who want to attend the fan festival. We made more tickets available this year than ever before, and we understand the frustration of not being able to procure tickets. We wish we could accommodate everyone, and so we'll try to do our best and even host even more of our passionate adventures in the future.
To be fair,
that doesn't make logical sense.
To be fair, look, that makes them seem really cool that they have so many tickets. But you know what else, guys? They also have more subscribers in this game than ever before. So,
I mean, okay. To be fair, also, I know that my circle of friends and cosplay people and stuff is a very small, subset of people. But I will say I've, been to all three of these now, and well, eventually, and I have actually seen multiple people posting on Facebook about, oh, I'm so excited, I'm going to go to FanFest for the first time this year, like all over Facebook, like tons of people saying that this is going to be their first year going. So I do think interest was higher this year than 2016's, regardless of how many actual subscribers they have or how much they claim to have. I do think that interest in the FanFest specifically was higher this year. That is,
or the Facebook algorithms just showing you more stuff.
Yeah.
Well, but
Best wishes on the surgery.
What?
Wow.
That was a weird.
You fucking failure.
Fucked it up, man.
God damn it.
What?
Fucked it up.
Hate you.
To turn that off?
It is. Check it every time.
Not gonna check it. It's behind a monitor. How am I supposed to remember that?
But by coming in and being like, oh, you know what? I better check that so that things don't happen. It's on your side.
Well,
it's your responsibility.
There's nothing on your side.
I pretty much lead through all of the stuff. Like, I have to say all that crap that you write at the beginning that nobody even cares about, and Nero has to, like, audio man so it's even remotely funny. I do all the talent work. You have to help with the technical work, okay?
Why don't you help with the creative work and write that next time?
Excuse me, did you see all of the other stuff that I wrote?
Children.
No.
You help out with the bare bones by being like, oh, here's a link. Write words here. Oh, thanks, Juxta. I didn't know how to fucking do that.
Anyway.
Write the words.
Anyway,
I have another thing to bitch about. I think another
Make it
thing.
Nika. I really like this.
Yeah,
Get him,
like, I
Nika.
know. I'm like, even though, like, it's weird. Like, even though I got my tickets, I'm still so pissed at the way that they're handling this.
Oh, spoilers. We got some tickets, guys.
Yeah. By the way, since Nika just ruined it.
Yeah, thanks, Nika.
Limit Break Radio.
Okay, if anyone tuned into my Kingdom Hearts streams, I've already told them anyway. But I feel like the biggest issue here is that they had people and encouraged people to buy their hotel rooms on the room block rate before ticket sales.
Yeah, no.
That is a big fucking issue. Like, people, yes, they had, and there was, I remember the day that it happened, it did sell out quickly, and there was a little bit of like, wow, that sold out fast. But the thing is tons of people got those rooms, and now tons of people have canceled them.
Because they didn't get tickets.
Yeah, it blows my mind. Like, there was still a race to get those Rio rooms. Like,
so by the way, you can get a Rio room right now, but it's not going to be at convention rate.
But the thing,
wait, hold on. So if they bought a room at convention rate and then canceled it, that room you now have to buy at normal rate?
No, if you go through the convention rate website, it should still be there now.
No, I think those bookings first go to hotels.com and all of those sites, you know, and then it goes back to a normal rate room.
Oh my!
Because the thing that you know, like, convention rates are if you purchase the room between X and Y date. So if you're outside of that,
not every convention does it that way. Most of them do. We have because normally what happens with convention rates is you reserve a certain amount of rooms for the convention, and once those rooms have all sold out, then the convention block is sold out. It's not that it's a time period; it's an amount of rooms the convention has reserved. So
the ones that I've always
that's how
done
other conventions, like the ones I've been to on this coast, are
you know, like a timed thing. So you have between.
It feels timed because they sell out.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's specifically timed.
What the fuck is all I can say?
It's just really weird that even though there was a race and it was a rush to get those Rio rooms, many people got them. And I think all of those people assume that if they were able to get a room, then they're going to be able to get a ticket.
That they have a reasonable chance of getting tickets.
Yeah, and instead they sent out clearly more access codes than they had tickets. I just feel like there's something wrong with this. Like, how can they send out all these access codes and then not realize?
Because not everyone getting an access code is going to be interested in going.
I mean, obviously, but think that they assume that everyone can buy up to 4 tickets. So assuming that not everyone's going to buy one, still assuming that everyone's going to buy 3 or 4 tickets for their friends, like.
But I mean, like we know that they don't have 10 million active subscribers, but they probably have, I don't know, half a million people logging in on a fairly regular basis. So, you know, if you're going to send out 500,000 access codes, what are you going to book the fucking Barclays Center? You're going to put it at the Staples Center? You know what I mean? Like
okay, that's fair. I just feel like they somehow really didn't. I don't know.
Okay,
like
hold on. I actually have a question now.
Also, they sent out an access code to anyone who had an active sub between January and June. Whereas in the past, it was literally like, if you have an access code in May or June, you get one, not January, February, March, April, May, or June. I feel like that also allowed tons of people extra access codes that possibly don't even have a sub anymore.
So we got tickets. We're going. Okay. Are you telling me we don't have rooms yet?
No, we don't have rooms yet.
Of course you don't have rooms yet.
I have a room, but
yeah, all right. So I guess, well, at least we have a place to put the equipment then.
Yeah, you can totally store all the shit in my room. That's fine.
So we can store the shit in her room, but we have to sleep on the streets of Nero.
That's right.
Yeah, you gotta protect the expensive stuff.
Yeah.
I have a husband. We're sharing a room. None of y'all are invited. Sorry, but you can drop the shit in my room. That's fine.
So we're currently working out the details for FanFest, but I think that, you know, like, let's be honest, like, interest was so high in 2018 FanFest because everyone was under the preconceived notion that we would be out there doing an after party. Like, that's why tickets sold out the way that they did. They're like, yeah, we want to check out that after party, but, like, we should also have something to do for those couple of days while we're in Vegas.
Makes sense.
So the FF14 FanFest, yeah, that makes sense.
We're gonna have the most lit after party, and Nick has to sit outside on the sidewalk.
That's right. So we don't have anything to announce yet for the after party, but we are working on booking it. We do want to try to make it as fun, if not even more fun, than last year.
There will be no deep throating of dildos, mostly because Juxta's not coming.
That's right. Well,
you mean Skuro?
You put that thing in your mouth too.
No, I didn't.
You, Skuro, and Ryuichi. Yep.
Okay, no, hold on. Revisionist history, my friend.
It didn't go in your mouth, but you did tongue it.
I don't remember that either.
You were also super drunk.
Yeah, I know, but I still remember not touching that. Well, I shoved it down Skuro's throat, but aside from that, there's no mouth activity from me on the action figure.
All right, we'll look into that.
Okay.
So, announcement coming soon for FanFest details. So
please look forward to it.
I think it'll be a good time. I have a couple of ideas. Reached out to a couple of people. Nothing to report back on yet. But
so it's concrete in the set in stone.
Isn't. No,
take it for granted.
I do know a lot of people that didn't get FanFest tickets that already bought their flights, you know, because they had a room and assumed they could go, are still going, and people are organizing things outside of the event. So, like,
heard that as well.
Sup, homies.
Sup,
Thor.
Hi, Thor.
Hi. So if you didn't get tickets, I wouldn't be discouraged. There's still a lot of shit going down. I know even like because I mean, I feel really bad. I'm in a Discord for FanFest cosplay, and there's a ton of people that have already dropped like $500, $1,000 on like chainmail for their cosplay for the contest, and then they didn't get tickets.
Well, and not to mention, like if you actually think about it, the fact that this year the stream is free, paying and going to FanFest, like the $150, all that's really doing for you is getting you in the door so that you can see these announcements and the concerts. You can see these announcements and the concerts while actually sitting there, right? Like, going and still being able to hang out with people outside of the actual convention center. I mean, how many people did we have lunch and dinner with last year? You know, you didn't drink in the convention center itself. You went elsewhere, the after party and stuff.
Speak for yourself. I was drinking everywhere I went.
Well, you were also sick and trying to suppress by just pure alcohol.
Yeah.
And vitamin C.
By the way, did you know that vitamin C and vodka does absolutely nothing for mono? Nothing whatsoever. Not a thing.
It makes you forget the pain.
Not really. No, because
when you're passed out, it does.
You just end up more tired and sleepy.
Yeah, all right. That's probably fair. Especially, I mean, he's getting old. He's getting up there.
Yeah.
So yeah. Point is though, coming out to Vegas during that weekend, you should still be able to have a lot of fun. It's fucking Vegas.
We're gonna have something for you to do. Don't worry. So, listen, give us a call if you want to tell us about your FanFest ticket experience. Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. Let's go back to our phone lines and talk to Atmosk Estro of Leviathan. What's going on, Atmosk?
Hey, how you guys doing today?
Good. Thanks for calling Limit Break Radio. What's up?
So I wanted to call about I am actually a big time MMO hopper. I think I've always been an MMO hopper, and now you guys are talking about ESO and kind of like relating it to Final Fantasy 14.
Sure.
And I just came from World of Warcraft for a couple months, then ESO, and then now I'm back at Final Fantasy. I just bought Stormblood. I'm doing the quest right now.
Have you been tested?
I have every STD on the block.
Okay.
Every MMO. I'm like walking Ebola.
So, what do you think coming from ESO into Stormblood?
Well, I think ESO is a completely different genre. It's a different look. If you go into ESO, you're more you want the open world. You don't want to be as guided. I feel like WoW and Final Fantasy are much more traditional MMOs. They're very strict on their approach to the RPG genre. It's you have your raids, your dungeons, your leveling, and etc. And then WoW is kind of going the ESO route with the level scaling that they're slowly introducing. While Final Fantasy is actually a little bit more strict than World of Warcraft, actually maintaining more traditional than World of Warcraft. And actually, this is just my opinion. I would say Final Fantasy is actually now more of the traditional MMO experience than World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft is actually much more lenient. Wiping is almost impossible, and they're looking for raid. Like, I just wiped, I think, 2 times. I can't remember what trial I just did while questing. 63, if you guys remember what I'm talking about. But this is much more difficult than anything in World of Warcraft will give you unless you physically force yourself to go into mythic dungeons and or raids. Then, only then, will you experience difficulty in World of Warcraft. Besides that, literally turn off your brain and play the game. At least Final Fantasy has the difficulty to it, a feeling to it, and the content there actually feels like content, while World of Warcraft is so afraid to deviate from what they're doing. They just do combat. And yes, Final Fantasy did go the other route, and their quests are like not always combat related and sometimes extremely boring, but at least they're willing to tell you a story.
I mean, that's an interesting perspective, because I think that, you know, from my perspective, when I think of a traditional MMO experience, I think something that utilizes the overworld and relies less on instancing, because that was simply the technical limitation of older MMOs, right? That was something that, you know, WoW and later ended up utilizing very heavily and to great success. So then you come over to FF14, where everything is instanced. You queue for everything. And there's something that I feel, you know, isn't traditional about that. That is much more modern.
Yes.
Modern.
Yeah, when he was using traditional.
Which is fine. That is perfectly fine. And I understand what kind of hoops it prevents people from having to jump through to be able to get their way to content. I think that's all a very good thing. However, when it becomes monotonous to do so, when it becomes kind of old hat to do so, I think that it becomes incumbent upon the developer to find new ways to present the content that doesn't feel the same to the player. And I think that that's where FF14 struggles the most, is representing and repackaging content that already exists to the player to make it inherently interesting, or to properly incentivize the participation in that thing. And again, my comparison to ESO is imperfect, so I don't want anyone to say, oh, well, he's been playing ESO for 2 months and he's really into that game, that's why he's trashing on FF14. That's not the case. What I'm, I am into ESO, but my opinion about FF14 and my sentiment about FF14 has been fairly consistent across the board when it comes to, about the last 2 years of the game's development cycle. And, you can write that off as Nero's not into Stormblood. And you may very well be right. I'm not into Stormblood. Does that preclude me from enjoying content that may come in the future? No. But the chief complaint that I have is that it is a repeat of what we have already been given. And in other MMOs, I feel as if the repeat is way, way less pronounced than it is in FF14. I pick up on the patterns of FF14, and that could be from my 4 or 5 years playing it. I pick up on the patterns of FF14 way quicker than other games. And I happen to be of the opinion right now that that has to do with the way that the content is presented. Give me another 3 months in ESO and let me hit level cap and start experiencing the monotony and the grind and the rotation of that content, and then I may be able to come up with a better evaluation of where FF14 stacks up against a game like ESO, which is far more modern. Because most of my context for what an MMO should feel like comes from FF11 and Ultima Online, which, if you want to talk genre, are a completely different genre of MMO than what we have now currently with our kind of modern strain of MMO. So I think a more apt comparison would be ESO and would be WoW. So what you're saying could be in fact true. I don't know. All I know is my own sentiment when I am grinding content in FF14. For example, yesterday, had the day off. Decided to take the entire day off, play some video games. Played probably about 6 hours of ESO, switched over to FF14 so that I could put up a cross-world link shell party finder and get more people into the cross-world link shell, because apparently people are very interested in that. And I ended up, just kind of doing EX dungeon roulette, 70 dungeon roulette, and my
the usual.
Yeah. My alliance content for the week, right? And at the end of it, I was like, fuck, I gotta go take a nap. It was literally like, I literally felt like bored to the point where I'm like, I need to go sleep this off before I can go back to ESO.
It's digital melatonin.
I don't think it's that. I almost think it's hypnotic, the way that FF14 presents you with patterns. And since the human brain is designed to pick up on patterns, I think that's what a lot of the monotony is just us picking up on how strictly and rigidly patterned a lot of the content and indeed many of the fights are. So I think that's at least some of my complaint, because when we did Elder Scrolls Online earlier this week over on Checkpoint, Kahlo, when we were doing world bosses, that was, and granted, not the same type of content and not a perfect example, but that was so chaotic and kinetic that's what made it fun. And it was, and also I couldn't tell you a fucking pattern out of there other than not really. There's another wave of ads, right? Like that's one of the things that I thought was really cool and really compelling. Now, of course, once you do all of those, they're done, and you know, now there's really, you know, kind of no
reason to go back.
No point in going back. So that's kind of a strike against that kind of content in ESO. So anyway, at Mosk, I hope that kind of addressed what you were talking about. But I mean, I don't know for sure that traditional is the best description.
No, they're modern
of what FF14 does. Maybe in comparison to what you were talking about, but I do think that the scope and the intention is different from those other games. I mean, of course, WoW has so much history that it can rely on, and so many different pieces of content that it could put you back into. That's really, you know, that plays to its strength of just how massive it is. So, you know, you may bring up a really good point. I simply don't know. You know, playing two MMOs at once is really new for me too. Well, that's not something that I'm used to.
The other thing go ahead, Amos.
I'm actually I'm doubling in with a World of Warcraft subscription ready for the pre-patch hitting in 2 days, and then the new X-Pack coming out next month, which I already have purchased. And I think I should have been more specific what I meant by traditional. I mean like traditional in like today's day.
That would be modern,
like
then.
In quotation, yeah, the modern traditional. At least Final Fantasy still has like the servers are still like in one server. It's not cross servers. I still will see repeated names.
It's not shardless. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's very annoying in World of Warcraft.
I agree about that too, because ESO is also shardless, and I hate it.
Yeah, there are definitely pros and cons to each. But what I think, here's the thing: Final Fantasy 14 is not a bad game. That's why you get so many people that either when they come in at Heavensward, they love it, or when they come in at
Break Radio just say FF14's not a bad game.
Listen, let me finish.
I can already hear the fucking YouTube comments.
Or people who come in at Stormblood love what they're playing, right? The type of gameplay that Square Enix makes is fine. It's worth paying for and it's worth playing. The problem is when you've played it for 2 or 3 expansions in a row and you realize it is literally the exact same thing. Like you said, it's boring, it's hypnotic, it's tiresome. When you look at World of Warcraft, by all means, yes, World of Warcraft does have some flaws and perhaps even flaws that Final Fantasy doesn't have. But when you look from expansion to expansion, you see that Blizzard is actively looking at things that as a player base doesn't really work for us, right? When it comes to tomestones that we do in 14, remember when you had to get, what was it, Valor points?
Badges of Valor?
Yeah, badges of Valor back in I think it was like Cataclysm and stuff like that. When they removed those, Strife was actually the one who was talking to me about this, that one of the developers had actually put out like this big post on the forums about the effects that something like that had on players, making it feel like chores, like you had to log in to do a job. You have to make sure you cap every week.
You got to maximize your badge of honor.
Exactly. There was this negative impact that it was having on the community. Blizzard saw that and was like, no, we have to fix that. We're still getting tomes in 2018 in Final Fantasy 14.
And you know what? I was thinking about this the other day. Why are we still getting tomes?
Thank you.
What are tomes? What do they do? Why are we collecting them? Why does Rowena even want them? And after 3 fucking expansions, nothing has happened with them. You would think
that's the problem with 14 is they don't change.
Well, what are tomestones? They're from the Allegan Empire, and they have information. Why does Rowena want them? Because she wants the
ancient Allegan porn.
She wants the Allegan
power
information. So what is she doing with them? Is there going to be a story?
Rich.
Is there going to be a storyline eventually evolving?
No, fuck that.
No. It's that kind of lazy shit that just drives me fucking crazy about this.
But would you like a story about Garo?
Say that again.
I think that has to do with the J part of, this JRPG. The Japanese, I feel like, don't ever venture too far out. They try perfecting the same thing over and over again, and hence we have Final Fantasy repeating its content while World of Warcraft is trying to find new ways.
Yeah, I don't think that that's necessarily true, because with FF11 you saw a completely different style of design philosophy when it came to content. Once content was out, it received small adjustments through patches over time, but they moved on to the next thing. Sky was never really reworked into something else until much, much, much later in the game, where you just, Sky Party couldn't happen anymore, right? C was its own thing, for ages, and might still be to this day. I have no idea. I haven't played FF11 in a really, really long time, but you didn't see them going back and doing C 2.0 during Treasures of Odd Urgon. They were on to Salvage and Nizul Isle and Assaults. Yeah. And
attacking bricks and walls.
And I don't know if that's Japanese. I don't know if that's a cultural thing at Square Enix. I don't know if that has to do with this particular dev team. But there does seem to be I hate to say this, but I feel like it's more driven by fear. More driven by fear of failure. That a piece of content could come out and be as bad as Diadem or something, that they don't go back and try to create something new very often. They just reiterate what already works. And yes, it does work, but it's also very boring. It's also very, very, very boring. After what is this, 6 years now of grinding dungeons to be able to get tomes or level up or whatever it is? Like, I would like them to come with some sort of different approach. And I've said a million different ways from Sunday what that approach could be. And, I don't know how else to put it anymore. They seem unwilling or uninterested in doing any of those things.
Or unable.
Unable. That may be possible, too. Anyway, thanks for the call, Atmos. We appreciated hearing from you. He's gone? Okay.
He's still here, but...
Okay. Well, never mind that. Atmos, thank you very much for the call. If you want to give Limit Break Radio a call, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. Let's talk about Guild Wars 2 here for a second.
Yeah, I mean, we already touched on ESO and World of Warcraft.
As long as we're talking about other MMOs, we might as well.
As long as we're not talking about Final Fantasy 14, let's continue not to talk about Final Fantasy 14.
This relates to Limit Break Radio just as sort of like an entity.
As a media outlet.
Oh, this is about us?
Not really.
Just shut up and listen. All right. So a few weeks ago, the Guild Wars 2 community was rocked, quote unquote, by the firing of their own volition, more or less, of 2 writers from ArenaNet's writing staff for Guild Wars 2. So essentially, what happened is a writer by the name of Jessica Price on her own private Twitter account, and by private Twitter account, I don't mean that it was made private to where you couldn't see it. It just wasn't associated with ArenaNet.
Her personal account.
Her personal account. Yep. She had held a Reddit AMA of some sort on the Guild Wars, answered a bunch of questions, blah, 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 blah. And on her private or her public account, she had expanded on one of the questions and points that was made, and that was essentially how hard it is to write for the player character in an MMO. It's hard to give them, to characterize them, right? Which is probably fair. Okay. Someone within the community.
That's a pretty long-standing problem anytime you've had a silent protagonist.
Exactly. So another a streamer, I don't want to say prolific, but one of the Guild Wars streamer, very active in the community, replied to her Twitter saying, it was a really interesting thing to read. I appreciate your insight. Allow me to disagree slightly. And basically went on to summarize that maybe it's not a problem with the MMORPG genre itself. And she saw that as a gendered attack on her and, went off on the guy. And then another writer,
Peter Freeze,
12-year ArenaNet veteran, by the way, came to her defense. She didn't ask you to comment on this. Everyone just cool off, blah, 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 blah. Reddit got all up in a tizzy that the writers and these employees were being rude to them, called for their dismissal, and ArenaNet fired them.
So why this is relevant to Limit Break Radio is, first of all, when you look at the exchange, it is kind of easy to walk away with like, well, she took it to a place that was unnecessary, and she very well might have, because a lot of the criticism that was leveled at Guild Wars 2 in, by what's his name, Darior, whatever his name is, was pretty fair.
It was. I thought so.
It's no more harsh. I mean, we get way more harsh with Square Enix on this show.
That was a 1 out of 10 on the scale. We take it to 11.
Exactly. Like, we've straight up called the FF14 dev team lazy. Do we have any evidence of that? No, but it's an opinion. And this guy was sharing his opinion. And he has every right to do that. And she pushed back and said, hey, look, look at some uneducated asshole telling me how to do my job. And oh, by the way, I happen to be a woman. So bringing gender into it, which in 2018, post Gamergate, that's just kind of poking the bear.
Yeah, kind of was.
Kind of poking the bear. However, though, I don't begrudge her of that opinion either.
No, again, it is still the internet. So if you want to say fuck you to someone, tell them to fuck off.
Being a woman in the games industry has got to be very difficult. Mm-hmm. And especially having to deal with jabbering jackholes like this show going off about your work has got to be, for some people, very irritating. But you're right, Kahlo. This is the internet. And this is free speech. We get to express our opinion. If my opinion is that Yoshi P did a bad job administering the FanFest tickets, which, by the way, he didn't because he had no role in that. But if my point is that he chose poorly in the vendor, I'm entitled to that position. I don't think that, by the way, but I'm entitled to think that. And what this lady did was get on her own private Twitter account. She's not a community rep, so this does not represent ArenaNet or Guild Wars 2. She worked for the company and said so on her Twitter bio. By the way, you can do that. If that's your job, you're allowed to fucking claim, hey, this is my job. But I have a real problem with the fact that both her and Peter were fired.
Especially Peter.
I have a really big problem with this because if at any point I had ever leveled any criticism against the Square Enix development team and Matt Hilton had come out and addressed it on Twitter and said, hey, no, we're not lazy, we work really hard, that would be opening up a dialogue. That would be opening up a conversation. Would I be offended at him pushing back on the notion that the FF14 dev team is lazy? No, I would not.
But also, I feel like we can handle shit like that a lot easier. I feel like a lot of people, if maybe were fed up with them and said that, and then Matt Hinton pushed back at them, so other people might get offended.
Right. And you know what? That's fine. That's all well and good. If at some point he had said, well, listen, Nero, I think you're being racist against Japanese people because you're calling this dev team lazy, and that's an intrinsically racist point of view, that would have been a different dialogue, and it would have been probably pretty unfair characterization of my comments, but I still would not have come on this channel, this show. I would not have said anywhere on Twitter, on social media, I would not have done anything to say that that person would deserve to lose their job, because they just shouldn't. People should be, this is a fundamental question. Who owns your fucking social media?
Yeah, they're
I'm asking every single person in this chat room, who owns your social media right now? Is it you, or is it the company you work for? Because if it's the company you work for, I guarantee right now more than half of the people in this chat room watching this Twitch channel would probably have to go back and remove a few things from their Twitter feed. Guaranteed. Who owns your social media profile? Is it you or is it the person you work for? Because, you know what? And I hate to bring him into this, but the President of the United States makes a pretty good case for the fact that your social media account is your own, despite your position in any company, in anywhere, unless that Twitter profile has the name of the fucking company in it. Then your profile is yours. Unless you are a designated customer service representative, public relations representative, your account is yours. Should you be held accountable for the things that you say? Absolutely. Was there anything in this exchange that warranted Jessica or Peter being fired? Not that I saw. Not that I saw, and the only evidence that anyone has been able to bring up that moves the needle even a little bit was like, oh yeah, she shit on Total Biscuit when he died. Okay, so she says some reprehensible shit. I say reprehensible shit all the time too. Sometimes it's just to get a laugh. Other times it's to get a rise. Other times it's what I actually believe. You don't know. But the fact of the matter is if I was so hyper concerned about what I was putting on social media, do you think I would be allowed to be myself?
Probably not.
Do you think I would be allowed to come out on this show? You know, like let's say that, you know, the corporate overlords at Checkpoint listened to Limit Break Radio and they were like, "Wow, Nate, I think you need to tone it down on that show a little bit." You know what my answer would be? It would be go fuck yourself or buy the show. You want to buy the show? Fine. Pay me $1 million. And I'll say what you want me to say. I've got a price. It's $1 million. But that's bullshit to be held accountable on that level. And the really shitty thing here is the people that pounced on this opportunity were the remnants of the Gamergaters that shit around Reddit and 4chan and swirl around that whole asshole of the internet. And the sentiment from that group after this happened was, we got ArenaNet by the balls.
We can get anyone we want fired.
We got them by the balls. And you know what? They're right. They do. ArenaNet caved. They folded. What ArenaNet should have done was stood by their employees and said, our employees' conduct on social media is not a representation of ArenaNet. If you have a problem, please contact ArenaNet directly.
I don't know. Lots of people have gotten fired for saying shitty things on social media not connected to the company, though. Like, that's a thing.
If you're being held accountable for saying something shitty, that's fine. Then what did she say that was so shitty that she deserves to lose her job?
I mean, that's true. If they were going to hold her accountable, they could have done that for some of the other things she's done. Like, if they didn't like that she was harassing the guy that died, then, or whatever, like, then they could have fired her then, but they didn't, which means they clearly, that wasn't the reason they were firing her.
Saw nothing in any of these exchanges that warranted somebody's job.
No. The problem here was that Reddit applied pressure. The end.
Done. You know?
Another victory for America.
And now 2 people lost their jobs. Why? Because a woman making a game felt as if she was different while making it. And you know what? As a man, I can't tell her that she's wrong. I just can't. So I see a lot of people having an opinion about this story. Mm-hmm. Oh, she was a monster because she was just an asshole on social media. I'm an asshole all the time.
Should we kick him off this show and remove him from Checkpoint?
A lot of people would really like that. A lot of people would really like that. But then you know what goes with me is all the microphones.
Everything. Literally everything.
Yeah.
Show would die.
The talent.
Yeah.
Ability.
We just go and we just start a new show.
I mean, but that's the thing, though, is that what this really damages at the end of the day, and why I think that this is relevant to Limit Break Radio, is what it damages is the ability for a media organization which let's generously call what this fucking streamer a media organization and a developer. It damages the ability to have a genuine dialogue between those two parties. And if a lot of people, and because a lot of people do look at shows like this as, you know, we're community leaders. We're the ones that can get Square Enix's attention. And for some shows, that may be more applicable than ours, right? And you do want the ability for those two parties to be able to have a genuine dialogue. Do you not?
I agree. When I looked at this, like, again, I get how everyone could have gotten to where they were, but I also see the exchange that they were having as something that has to be necessary. In MMORPGs, above all else, communicating with your audience is important, right? But she has every right on her personal Twitter account to call someone an asshole.
Absolutely.
And the fact that because, by the way, Twitter does give you the option that if you don't want people to comment on your stuff, if they're not following you and you're following them, you have that option. Right. If she didn't want someone to disagree with her, she had the ability to stop that, right? So he had as much of a right to comment as she did to say, hey, go fuck yourself, right?
Yeah.
Shouldn't have got her fucking fired.
And you know what? Creative people should be given that freedom to be able to defend their work.
Yes.
How many times, dude, how many times do we get the same fucking complaints from people over and over and over again? You guys are so critical. Oh my God, why do you even do a show for a game that you hate? And it's like, okay, well, those people don't understand that there is a large audience that we have that's interested, that's been listening for 4 years, 6 years, whatever it is, that's been listening for a long time, that's interested in hearing our opinions about this game as it continues to evolve and progress, even if we've dipped in interest in the game. You know, we used to have this prevailing thought in FFXIV Limit Break Radio. Nobody wants to hear a show that shits on the game that it is podcasting about.
Ooh, boy, were we wrong.
And when we brought the show back, we came at it with a different core tenet, and that is nobody wants to sit around and listen to a show where four people agree with each other.
Especially when there's other shows that already do that.
Right. So it changed one of our core tenets, and it was really out of fear that we had said people don't want to listen to a show where the hosts just bag on the game.
We have to do, yeah.
And we decided to challenge that notion, and it turns out, you're fucking wrong. We were wrong too, but turns out you're wrong. People want to listen. People still want to hear our opinions about it. So what? We should shut it down because it offends your delicate sensibility? No. Should Jessica have had to shut down her Twitter feed because it offended a couple of people? No. Nor should she have been fired. I think that is a ridiculous response. It's an irresponsible response from ArenaNet. That invalidates her feeling that as a woman in game development that she gets mansplained shit all the time. And to be fair, would it, if this was a man saying it about a layman trying to explain the better parts of game deving, this would not have been a story. Because we would have said a game dev is pushing back against someone who doesn't know how to make a game.
If it would have been like this streamer against Peter.
Again, and that's fine. But again, don't we want that? Isn't that exactly what we want? By doing a show like this, isn't what we want is Square Enix to acknowledge something that we say on the show, or to start a dialogue, or when we go, hey, why is this like this? Because it kind of sucks that it's like this. To get an answer out of them would be refreshing.
Yeah, that's why this whole...
And instead, people latched on to the fact that she's a woman and turned it into something else. Did she start that ball rolling? Absolutely. But fucking compounding it with the 4chan bullshit and the Reddit bullshit, I am so tired of that.
Yeah,
I am so tired of that.
I agree.
Shit.
There was nothing about this story that, as a gamer, as a content creator community, whatever the fuck we are, made me feel good, because you're right. We should be able to communicate with developers, whether it's MMORPGs or not, because we consume what they make for us. So whether or not we know the ins and outs and the intricacies of game development, we still have opinions that could help in making your product better, right? Not saying that everything that everyone comes up with is going to help with that, but talking to it with us can definitely help. But I think everyone handled this situation poorly. But it was ArenaNet that put the nails in the coffin.
Here's who didn't.
Because they could have shut that shit down by saying, Jessica, chill out.
Here's who didn't need to get involved at all. HR. ArenaNet.
Yeah, that's fair.
They didn't have a role in this. They inserted themselves because they thought they had an optics problem. Guess what? I didn't know shit about this until those people were fired, and you had people openly celebrating their firing.
Yep.
This would have been a blip on the fucking radar, and ArenaNet just blew it up into something else. And I'll tell you what. If I was a Guild Wars 2 player, I would absolutely be uninstalling that game right the fuck now. That's fucked up. And that's not just fucked up in the world of game development or in MMOs. That's fucked up for people's jobs and for people's livelihood. If you want your social media parsed, and you want every statement you've ever put out on social media parsed as to whether or not you can keep your job, go ahead and support this move, because that's what you're doing. That's what you're supporting. You're supporting the right for your boss to get so far up your ass that they can fire you or hire you based on your social media statements alone. Sorry, that's not the world that I want to live in.
That's the point of interviews anymore.
Exactly.
Like, why even bother vetting an employee?
Why send a fucking CV or a resume? Just send your fucking Twitter profile.
Yeah, but if they see something they don't like, they just won't call you back.
Exactly. Do you really feel like your livelihood is secure if that is the rule, if that's the norm?
I mean, that's like one of the things they taught us in teacher school was don't ever put anything on social media that you don't want to be seen. And so I'm very careful about what I post on my social media. And that's why I also use a fake name everywhere. Because literally, like, you don't want a teacher who's sitting there cursing at people on social media and calling people names. And I don't know. It just isn't something you're going to want.
I think it would have been weird for me as a kid to find my teacher's social media.
Oh, and the thing is that now that shit happens. Like, I mean, the PE teacher was telling me recently that kids are finding him on social media, like on Instagram. He's like, oh shit.
I've actually thought about that. You know, like Nika, when you were doing your awesome stream earlier this week for like 80 fucking people, by the way.
What were you doing?
She was just raiding.
Yeah, I just had a good raid that day. I think
in 14.
Yeah. I think I got a host from Happy or someone that helped boost it, but it was
well, congratulations.
Yeah.
But anyway, while I was watching, I was like, dude, what if one of the kids that you were teaching or a kid that you taught several years ago just like stumbled across the stream? I'm
expecting that to happen at some point.
It's got to happen.
I've already had a parent, because I've worn a MagFest shirt on Casual Friday before.
Sure.
And I had a parent come in for a conference and then mention it later and be like, oh, I saw you had a MagFest shirt. And I was like, oh shit. Like, he knows exactly what that is. But then to be fair, at the conference, we did end up talking about Final Fantasy and Persona. So like, it was kind of weird. But like, I'm sure at some point, like a student or a parent will stumble across and like, I don't know what I'm going to do when that happens.
Get you fired.
But Nika, even being very careful, and I'm pretty careful on social media as well, right? Like
That's scary.
I don't say, hey, I don't say shit on social media that I'm not willing to back up with at least a fairly decent rant. But the thing is that you know, I'm also fairly reserved on what I'll throw out there on social media. And the thing is that context can be warped so easily given time and the change of context or the change of political winds or, you know, the change of sentiments, right? Like, you don't want to be held accountable for something you said 3 years ago when something was way different in your life. Like that assumes that people aren't allowed to grow in that period of time, that they're not allowed to change in that period of time. And I think that that's really disingenuous. If you use somebody's social media to build a profile of them, you get a very static profile. You don't get a lot of change in there because people don't talk about changes inside of them that often. That's an internal thing. Social media is an external thing, right? You might notice the tone of somebody's posts change over time, or the content of somebody's posts change over time. But if the content of their hearts are changing, then the content of their posts are going to be slow to reflect that. And you have to allow people that ability. You have to allow people that room to be able to grow and mature as people and as human beings. And I listen, all I know is that I do not want to live in a world where every single person's social media profile is parsed so that you get an idea of whether or not they're hireable or not. That's, to me, a dystopian world that I don't want any part of.
I guarantee you that most employers already do that, though. You send in a resume, the first thing that they do is look at your Facebook page.
Yes, and as a, as a general way to kind of shake that out. But I'm talking like you have to parse everything that they've ever said. You know what I mean? Like making this worse, right? Like I don't mind if somebody went to my Facebook profile to kind of get a general sense of me before they hire me for a job, right? Like that's normal. That seems fairly sane and adequate, and that's part of vetting someone, right? I'm not asking to not be allowed to vet somebody, but what I'm saying is that, if we're going to start using a social media profile as the litmus test or the standard that everyone is held to once they're and indeed once they're hired into the company too, then I think that leads to a very, kind of dangerously repressive environment where people aren't allowed to talk about their real feelings. And I mean, but then again, I'm also of the opinion that like 99% of people need to use social media about 50% less to find some real happiness in their life, because it's just something that we've overvalued, right? Like, I think if we all kind of like took a step back from social media, that we would all kind of benefit from that. But that's just kind of my opinion. Anyway, we're about 3/4 of the way through the show.
You know what? Didn't Juxta have a game?
Yeah, I think he did have a game.
I do have a game, but we have something more important. We have a caller on the line.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, then let's go to our phone lines and talk to Carletta. How's it going, Carletta?
Hey, how's everybody today?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I'm fantastic. I can't wait for FanFest. I got a ticket. It was not easy.
I was gonna say, yeah, you went through a little bit of FanFest ticket savage, right?
Yes. I thought Browbon Savage was hard. What happened was I went to the site and I waited and waited. Got disconnected from the internet.
Oh no!
Heart attack.
Uh-oh.
Got back on, into the queue, waited.
Oh no.
Waited. Sold out. I'm going like, no! So I'm going like, okay, well, them's the breaks. So I go to my FC's Discord. Their name's Celestia. And they're like, hey, I have an extra ticket. I'm still on. He was on not the FanFest part, but the show clicks.
The show clicks website?
Yeah.
Okay.
He got to the actual website. Yep.
And he goes, give me your name real quick. And I gave him the real and the game name, and I got a ticket. I pay the person when I get back. I mean, not get back, when I get to FanFest.
Well, that's great.
So you're
not scalped at all.
So your FC mate was able to buy their own ticket and then get back in and then buy one like for themselves as well, or
you know what?
They might have just bought two, hoping to give one away to someone who didn't get through.
Well, in Carletta's case, this worked out.
Very lucky.
Hey, you know what? Even if it goes sideways when I get there, I'm still in Vegas. I can still see you guys.
Thank you. That's like the whole thing. Like, look.
That's the whole point of going to FanFest.
I'm gonna be completely honest. For me, 100% of going to Vegas is to see fans and stuff, right? Like the reporting on the show, yes, that's important. We're going to do it? Yes, absolutely, we're going to do it. But even if we got there and Square Enix was like, no, you know what? We know who you are. You're not allowed in. All right, fine. We'll turn the stream on and we'll still get all the information we need to do our show. The important thing is being in Vegas with our fans.
Mm-hmm. And maybe I can kind of each get to the point where you my brain's starting to go now. Right before you go into the room with all the stuff in it, I'll just be there looking like.
Well, again, I mean, remember when we were at the Paris last year? I mean, you couldn't walk more than 5 feet and have alcohol. Yeah. So by all means, anywhere you go, you're going to be having a time.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. And I'm bringing my sister. I mean, she doesn't have a ticket, but I still want her to meet everybody.
Well, that's great. We'll look forward to meeting your sister.
She wants to play 14, but she hasn't. And I'm trying to convince her, get the game now so you can get hooked by FanFest.
There you go. There you go. Well, it's going to be fun to see you and hang out with you again, Carletta.
I know, and the sad part is that I had a power outage about a month ago, and my controller bit the dust when the power came back on. Because I used the controller to move around. I used keyboard to actually fight. I haven't been on 14 in a month.
Oh, man.
Because I couldn't play. I hate using W, A, and D to move around.
Well,
but I got one of those adapters coming in hopefully pretty soon, so I can use my PS4 controller. Nice. I'm playing 15, by the way, too. So
nice.
I'm sorry.
Here we are.
Well, that's cool, Carletta. That's excellent, and we're happy that you were able to figure out a ticket situation.
Well, me too, and I can't wait. Now I'm going to go clear my social media.
Carletta, thanks for the call. We appreciate it. If you want to give us a call, Limit Break Radio on Skype, 810-515-8715, limitbreakradio.com/Discord. So, Juxta, yeah, you told us you've got a little game for us to play.
I do have a game, and it's a little game that I like to call Name That Final Fantasy 14 Tune, or Name That 14 Tune for short. And it sounds really fun.
It sounds like a oddly familiar bit.
Yeah, it's one that I came up with all on my own, so I guess you must live in my brain because it's completely original.
Maybe one night after you guys had done your usual thing when he was whispering sweet nothings into your ear, you came up with it and mentioned it to him, and that's why it sounds familiar.
Oh, that would make sense, Daniel. Anyway, and so the rules are simple. I'm gonna play a short clip of a song. Okay. You guys got to guess what it is. And I say you guys because I don't think that the three of you even put together would be able to beat me at my game. So
do we have to know the actual name of the track or just like where it is in the game?
It's the zone, right?
Well, it's the zone, or if it's like a specific cut scene,
if we can prove that we know where it's coming from.
But if it's in a fight, you have to get the correct phase. So if it's a Titan fight, maybe you have to name the phase 3, or if it's in a zone, day or night.
Okay, so we're not going like against each other here.
No, you're on a team
together. Okay.
All right, so you guys got to collaborate and try to win.
All right, Nika, don't you dare fucking bring us down. I swear to God.
What? You think that I'm gonna be the one that brings us down?
You're the only one that I bet that plays with the music on.
Yeah, I always
okay, that's fair.
So
you just don't play with the music on?
But you probably just pick like really weird tracks that I was in like one random ass cutscene in like 2.4.
Like out of I mean like outside of the first week, I think I mute the music even if I really like it.
That's
I always use the music. Like,
why do you do soaking like this?
I turn it on
streaming bullshit stuff. I use the shoutcast instead, but like when I play normally, I always have the music on.
Okay.
Also, it's only from stuff that's in 2.0 and beyond.
Okay.
If it's a song like Twilight Over Thailand that was in 1.0, but you can hear it in 2.0 and beyond. That's fair. That's fair game.
Okay.
But if it's stuff that's like the Guild Leaves in 1.0 or
where we've never heard it since.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
That's not in the game.
Okay. All right. I'm ready for this. I'm ready to do this.
Because this game is so hard, you also have 3 Juxta lines. You have a phone and intern. You have Ask the Chat and the 50-50. You can use those at any time.
Wait, 50-50. So are you giving us multiple choice?
Yeah.
No, of course not.
So what does 50-50 do?
I'll just give you 2 names of songs, and they're either right or they're wrong.
Okay.
All right.
Well,
Okay, technically, the name is accurate then.
Wait,
Okay,
wait.
all right.
So hold on, because the chat's probably going to be shouting out answers anyhow.
Don't look at the
and
chat,
chat-
please.
well,
Okay, so we're
chat
not allowed
Don't say anything unless.
No,
unless
chat,
Chat's
play along.
allowed, but we can only look at the chat.
If you use the Juxta line.
Got it.
Gotcha.
Okay.
And
so I've got
phone is down. Phone is down.
the phone is down. You, Kahlo, you can confirm over on my screen.
Can't see, you put shit over it.
VLC Media
No one
Player
can see mine, but you can just,
is covering the Twitch chat. So,
And I'm just assuming that Nika's cheating because of the whole Pandemonium Warden incident way back when.
you know, things that come back from years and years ago. All right, then I guess that's
And one final.
well, just you know what, Nika, log off and see if I can hear your complaints even louder.
All right, and one final rule: I get a after we play it. If you guys still can't get it after the short, like 3 to 6 second clip, if you still can't get it, I'll play you an extended one for no points.
Okay.
But if you can't get it after that, then I win, and I get a point.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
I'm gonna give you 3 easy ones to start. This is the first one. And just shout it out when you think you got it. But you have to give the final answer. You can collaborate. You'd be like, oh, I think it's this. I think it's this. I think it's this.
Singing the whole song in my head. It's from one of the boss fights in one of the dungeons.
Yeah. I know. I know.
Yeah, like final dungeon boss, because they all use the same
It's
same
like
songs for the dungeons,
like
right?
the Griffin. Is it the Griffin one in the?
Hit it again. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, no, I think that's a dungeon.
Is it the one from Stone Vigil?
But they're all
Whatever
the
the Griffin
same.
boss is.
Yeah,
they're
see,
all the same.
that's the
They're boss-
thing.
They're the
It's
dungeon boss thing, right?
Dungeon bosses don't have their own themes.
Right.
Not all of them.
Not all of them. Right.
I think this is a dungeon boss theme.
Yeah.
I'm
Do we
afraid
have
that-
to? Do we have to specify from which expansion?
Yes, you do.
Heaven's Word.
I think Heaven's Word.
I think
too.
it's Heaven.
No, it's Heaven's Word.
Is that your final answer?
Because the Vigil Snow. Yeah, that's.
So
Heaven's
we're gonna go
Ward.
with Nika. We're all on the same page. Boss battle music from Heaven's Word.
From Dungeons.
Yes.
Yes.
Are you on board, Nika?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, you got the first one. Good job.
Okay, nice.
All right, and the second easy one.
Okay.
Big Bridge.
But yeah.
Yeah, Gilgamesh.
Yep.
And easy one number 3.
That's a Stormblood one, isn't it?
Yep.
I have no idea where that
It's-
one's
Oh, come
from.
on.
Hang on. It's
Yeah, I'm not gonna know this one.
Do it again.
That's not 6 seconds.
Not all of them are 6 seconds. Between 3 and 6 seconds.
Okay.
It's not a zone theme.
Is it a?
Oh my God.
Is it a dungeon?
No.
No, I think it's a town.
It's not a zone theme though. It's like a cutscene theme.
What? Oh, is it when we meet Heian? Is that like a Heian theme?
Chad is going crazy.
Hold on. For our Juxta line, do we only get one of each?
Yeah, you only get one of each for the whole segment, so choose it wise. Don't use it on the easy ones. These are easy.
No.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm gonna have to. I'm
definitely
gonna have to.
like a cutscene theme from Stormblood.
I'm gonna have to bow to your weeaboo-ness, Nika.
Are you sure? Because I
It's
almost.
definitely it's a Doman theme.
Hang on. I almost want to say Yangtze.
Oh.
If you say that, you have to give a day or night, though.
Oh motherfuck! I'm like 90% sure it's Yangtze in the day.
I remember liking the music from there. I remember liking the zone design and the music.
Man, this one's tough. I'm gonna this one's tougher than you give
Can I
yourself
play it
credit
one more
for.
time?
Nika, listen. All right. I have put my guess out there into the ether. The decision rests with you.
Yep.
Because I kind of feel like I've spent a lot of time doing that Doman upgrade quest in the Doman Enclave. Are we sure?
But the Doman Enclave is located in Yangsha, isn't it? Isn't that the zone that it's connected
is
to?
Is it the same music?
All right. Come on, Nika.
All right, we need an answer.
We need a final answer, Nika. Wait. Didn't you say that if we needed to, it doesn't count as a Juxta line, but you'd give us like more of the song?
Yeah, but you get no points if you do that.
But neither of us.
So give a final answer before that.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't feel like it's an entire zone music. Like it doesn't strike me as something that's actually in Yangsha because I spend a lot of time doing daily hunts, and this to me does not feel like a large zone theme. It's either a cutscene theme or the enclaves.
It could be a cutscene theme. It could be. But I know the part after it goes dun 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 dun.
Yeah, it's too like I don't know. That seems too like not what zone themes sound like.
All right, well, it's on you, Nika. It's on you.
If you don't give an answer, I'm going to say Yangtze Day.
See, my guess would be Dome and Enclave, but I don't know if it's different music from Yangsha.
All right, we'll just go with Yangtze Day. Damn.
So where's it from?
You want to give another answer for redemption points?
Can I give the Dome and Enclave as an answer?
You may.
Go ahead.
And that would be correct.
You need to be more confident, Nika. Be more confident.
I mean, like,
it's also
I gave you.
It is He Theme.
Kala said that too.
I gave you a million chances to take this one up.
The official name of the song from Square Enix is Cyan's Theme from Final Fantasy VI.
That's why. God damn it!
Yeah, they reuse a lot of those themes are reused.
That drives me crazy because
now you can hear it. Now you can hear it.
So hold on. Since we got it with the extended, does that mean you don't get a point?
I don't get a point for that.
Okay.
That's your redemption point.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on to the actual songs now. Number 1.
This is Snowcloak.
Yeah, it's one of the dungeons. Yeah.
There you go.
This is Snowcloak. It's Snowcloak for sure.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Good job.
Also known as the Warrens.
We're not going to know any of these actual titles, man.
Yeah.
Come on.
What?
The Warrens? Okay.
Number 2.
All right.
I could barely hear that one on my end. It faded out.
Damn.
That does not even sound familiar.
Damn. I was actually going to say that one's unfair because that could be too like that swell happens at so many songs, but that part afterwards is really unique.
It is, and I feel like that's a story dungeon of some point, but I have no idea what.
That's why you got a little more seconds.
I feel
These
like
okay. I'm telling you, it's not a regular dungeon thing because I grind those for levels so hard.
Yeah, no.
Like I would know that if it was at least a dungeon theme, that is not like I don't even recognize the song at all.
From some type of MSQ related cutscene, then,
or something, or something
you have to
early
think of
from
what,
2.x.
Because what that hits me as is like some type of like escape, or like we're still in the action, but there's a little bit of a lull in it as it's ramping up to the next point, right? So
I don't have a clue. This one, that genuinely, I feel like I've never heard this piece of music.
How do you guys feel about using a 50-50 on this one?
You want to use a 50-50?
Okay, well, yeah. Let's use a 50-50 because I genuinely I feel like I've never heard this.
Okay,
yeah, I don't either.
I will give you Wrath of the Icons or Calamity Unbound.
I feel like you guys would know if this was Calamity Unbound. This has got to be Wrath of the Icons.
But what are those even from?
Yeah, but what icon?
Because the icons, what? So, but it's not like a primal battle.
No, it's not. But think to the cutscene when Ultima Weapon scoops in all of the primals at the end of the 2.0 MSQ.
It does, because MSQ sounds right, like something associated with the MSQ.
Some type of like really high value like moment in the MSQ.
What was it? Something of the Icons?
Wrath of the Icons.
Or
Calamity
Unbound.
Unbound.
I would say Wrath of the Icons.
Yeah, I'll go
Wrath of
with
the
that.
Icons.
Right, Wrath of the Icons.
Really? Where's it from?
It is also not Calamity Unbound either. You had a 50-50 shot. Either it was right or it was wrong. They were both wrong.
Wait, what?
No,
Wait,
that's
what?
not. No.
Wait, what? Hold on.
50-50.
I can't wrap my head around that.
We asked how this worked before,
and I told you it's either right or it's wrong.
No.
50-50.
That some of the choices you gave us were right and some were wrong.
No,
I never said an answer was right.
No, because you're not giving like the way. Like, that would make sense if there were 4 overall options. We have a bajillion overall options. You give us 2 and they're both purposely wrong? No, you have to give us the right
That
one
is some
and
bullshit.
a wrong one so that we have a 50-50 shot of getting it right.
Yeah, before you say anything else, remember,
you have
this
a 50-50 shot. Either you get a right answer or you get a wrong answer. Completely fine.
Hey,
no,
guys.
Juxta line.
No.
Juxta. Remember, we decide whether or not we ever play this again.
Yeah, no.
Make the right decision here.
You just got Juxta line.
No.
All right. No, okay. Do it again. Give us a wrong one and a right one. Now, go.
That's a lie. Give us 2 other options, and it's a 50-50 right or wrong.
All right. Fine. You ruined my game. Oh, let's see.
No, your game needs to be fucking fair.
The Corpse Hall or Hubris?
Play it again.
Hashtag Juxta for the bullshit.
If you mute me, I can't MC. I have all the power here.
No, but someone actually donating and calling bullshit on that is pretty meaningful.
All right, Hubris sounds like that's MSQ material. The Corpse Hall sounds like that would be from a dungeon.
I agree with you.
Okay, Hubris. There we go.
So where is that actually
That's how
from,
50-50 has to work. You can't give
But
2
it's the
wrong
Juxta line.
answers. I will fucking strangle you.
It's actually from Labyrinth of the Ancients.
Oh, gosh.
Okay.
Just walking around, not the battle theme.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
So if you would have guessed Crystal Tower, that would have been incorrect.
Interesting.
Just so you know.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Nice. Nice sourcing of that, though. Because you're right. Like, that's music that we never hear anymore. You want to play the full one, the full clip that you have?
Oh yeah, I got. Oh, not the. It's 15 seconds.
Yeah.
You'll hear it.
Yep.
There it is.
Yep.
That's it.
That's
right there.
it.
That
Yeah.
drop.
Yeah,
that
yeah.
drop. Yep.
I feel like there I would have been like, oh, it's a 24-man, but I don't know if I would have pinpointed Labyrinth of the Ancients.
Yeah. That was a good one. Good. I will give you credit for that, but you don't
Credit
get
for the choice, but not
you don't get the point.
I don't think you guys get what the Juxta
See,
lines
now I
mean.
don't want to use any of the Juxta lines.
But ask the chat. All we have to do is look at the chat. Like that, he can't fuck that one up.
Well, yeah, assuming they're giving you right answers.
Right, but that's
different.
After they realize that what Juxta lines mean.
Oh, you want them to fuck it up for us on purpose.
Medium. Excuse me. This is number 3.
That's definitely something from Alexander.
Yes.
Nika.
It is. Hang on. I'm thinking.
Is it one of the elevator ones?
I want to say it's one of the normal mode ones when you're doing the trash.
Yeah. The trash in the elevator, right?
Man, nice job soaking on that bass. It's really.
Dude, are we gonna have to give you the specific turn?
Well,
if it exists in a specific turn, then yes.
Oh, jeez.
I will say I know at least in the Savage mode ones, the first 3 turns are the same, and the 4th one has a different theme, so it's not going to be that difficult unless.
Chat is going nuts again. Robbie Bobby in the chat. OMG, seriously, let me in on this bitch. I'll get them all.
Hey, we're on the spot. I feel like I know these normally.
Is 100% Alexander.
Actually, no, I almost want to say it's like Ethereal Chemical Research Facility.
Hang on.
Oh, actually, you know what?
You might be onto something there.
It's something mechy.
Is it Is it Power Man 5000?
No, that one's for Justice.
Okay, no. To be fair, if he actually throws at us not the song that sounds like, but actual Power Man 5000,
that'd be a good bit.
That would, yeah.
In the shower today, I was gonna throw in a World of Warcraft song in here.
Oh, but that would have been so stupidly obvious, though.
Would it though?
Would it?
I don't think it would have been.
Robert,
really?
And then I just started playing World of Warcraft.
Fucking dick.
Yeah.
Hit me again.
It's definitely an instance.
It could be ethereochemical.
It could be. Fuck.
When I picture it, I even picture even one of the most recent dungeons in Alamigo. What I'm seeing is going into an elevator, and as the elevator's going up, like the trash is being like spit out at you, like on conveyor belts. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
That's Chemical Research Facility. Alexander doesn't have elevators like that.
No, I'm not talking. Alexander. I don't think
the walls are going.
No, you're talking about what you're seeing when you hear the song, and I'm saying that's why I don't think it's Alexander.
Right. The ethereochemical refinement plant that was back in Heaven's Ward, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about one of the...
Because that's up in Oz's Law.
Right, one of the research facilities that we had to storm in Alamigo. The second boss is like a giant spider net thing. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
I want to say this is definitely a Heaven's Ward theme, though. I
think it might be. Yeah.
Okay, I will defer to you guys then.
Nika, do you want to go Aether Chemical Research Facility?
That's my strongest leaning, but I feel like it could be wrong.
Okay, that's what we're going to go with.
I'm sorry, what was the...
Aether Chemical Research Facility.
Are we saying it wrong?
No.
All
right. Give us the longer clip.
Here's your chance at redemption.
Okay. I was right. It's from Alexander.
It is. It's Alexander.
Yeah.
See, if I heard the lyrics, I would have known it wasn't the dungeon.
Careful. Clever editing.
So we have to give you the turn then if we want to redeem ourselves.
The turn and the phase if there is one. Oh come on!
It's the Sonic Boom one.
Yeah.
It's not the forward and back one. I know that much already.
It's all on you, Nika. You spend more time in this than anyone else.
Yeah, seriously.
That's why I almost want to say it's from Gordius, because I feel like I recognize this theme, but not from bashing my face into it during Savage Raids, because I didn't get very far during Savage during Gordius.
All right, so how far into Gordius did you get?
The third one.
So it's got to be Gordius.
But I also didn't do the third one very much, so it could be. I cannot remember the fourth theme from Gordius. Because like all the Alexanders...
What was the boss? Who was the fourth boss for Gordius?
Gosh, I don't even remember now. Because the third one was the one with the hands and the tornado and shit in the middle.
Gonna need an answer soon.
Yeah, come on, we're running out of time here.
Yeah, I mean, I can say Alexander Gordius turn 4.
All right, Gordius turn 4.
Fine. What was it?
The title of the song is Rise Alex 12 Phase 2.
Alex 12 Phase 2.
The Alexander fight? The Alexander fight Phase 2.
Well, that explains it.
No, I did that though.
Did you?
I see. When I think of the Alexander fight, I think of the part where like it starts going beep, 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 and then the drop happens. Like the part where like the sound gets muted and then it like booms.
Yeah.
That's when I think of Alexander 12. That's what I think of.
I almost threw that song in here.
Oh, okay. All right.
Well, we're 4-1. We're still leading you.
All right. Okay.
I'm actually disappointed. All right. Next song.
This sounds like a cutscene thing.
Man, that could be so many.
That sounds like a titled boss fight right there. Like it's leading up to something big. That's a phase change is what that is. Could that possibly be in like the Ultima fight? Like you just got done with Elidibus, whatever the fuck his name is, and now you're getting ready to fight Ultima proper?
I feel like I would know that. I feel like there's like 5 different things that this could be.
Really?
Yeah.
Do we want to ask the chat?
maybe.
What was our other option other than that one?
Ask an intern. Phone an intern.
Phone an intern.
Yeah, and neither of them play anymore.
It should be phone. We should be able to choose who we phone.
Oh, this is a Juxta line, all right?
Yeah, that's the most useless. Like, there's not even any way we can make that Juxta line.
To be honest, I'd rather take a random ass caller than call an intern.
Well, you don't get a random ass caller, you get an intern.
Do we get to at least choose the intern?
Sure, just like you chose the 50-50. Need an answer.
Oh,
let's ask the chat, guys.
Ask the chat.
All right, I guess we're right. Ask the chat
Let's
then.
ask the chat.
Help
All
us.
right.
Chat, help us.
Someone said Odin.
Oh, is that
Odin?
okay?
Said Odin.
Odin. Everyone's saying Odin.
Yeah, Taro.
This
You're
is a
using it
Nero's
as an
jam.
avatar. I mean, they seem to be fairly convinced that it's the Odin theme.
All right, Odin theme.
All right, we'll go with the Odin theme. Good job, chat.
Thanks, chat.
We never would have got that.
Alrighty, let's.
How many more do you have?
Yeah,
Is that the Odin theme from the Fate or from the trial, or are they both?
They're
Okay.
both. Yep.
Both. Yeah.
I have 15 questions and 3 bonus ones.
Okay.
I don't know if you can get the bonus ones because those are really tough.
Well, we're leading you 5-1 right now, so I'd say
4.
that.
Let's get.
No, one of them
we just got that. That's 5.
That's 5.
Odin
We
was
didn't get
5.
points for the last one.
I know. Juxta got the last
that's right.
one. It's
Okay.
5-1.
5-1.
All right.
So we'd have to get 6 wrong for you to win. So I think it's fair to say we won this round of Name That Tune.
So you want to try the bonus round?
Let's do a bonus round. Yeah.
All right. This is a little tougher.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Oh, there's 3 songs in there, by the way.
That was like.
Is this a Husky track?
Okay, the first one's Garuda, and then I heard
It's all Garuda.
Is it?
I think all 3. Yeah.
No. Do it again. Nope. Nope.
Oh,
it goes,
no.
Nope, it
Those are
goes
the-
Garuda, Leviathan, and
I heard Leviathan.
Hang on, I hear Titan in there too.
it's Garuda and then Leviathan, and the last one I think is Titan.
Now here's my question. You actually mixed 3 songs together, or does this come from a fight that just uses all of them?
No, I mixed these together. I audio-manced these.
Okay.
Wow.
All right.
Yeah.
That's Garuda. There's Leviathan. And that right there, I think, is when Titan.
I think that's
It's
Titan.
right at the very beginning when he goes, "Bwah," and then he explodes.
Yeah.
It goes Garuda, Leviathan, then Titan.
Okay.
I'll give you that.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'll just let you get that.
Okay. All right. What were you looking for?
No. That was right.
Was right.
That was
Okay.
right. I wasn't gonna make you get the phases or anything.
Okay.
Oh,
All right.
okay.
That was the easy one though. You want the hard ones?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Number 2 bonus.
Ooh.
I couldn't hear the end of it.
3 songs.
Was the end one the in room?
Hang on. They're all
Not
very,
enough time on each song.
they're all very, very similar tracks. Yeah.
Very similar, very quick.
Okay. The first one I'm pretty sure is Gridania.
Quick question for you.
Yes.
Like the last ones were all primals, are these all related in some way?
No, not really. Well, actually, yeah.
They are?
Vaguely.
Okay. Play it again. I feel like the first one's Gridania.
I feel like I'm hearing the Waking Sands in there.
Ooh. Oh, shit.
That's so fast. That's
This
not
is
enough time.
really hard. This is really hard.
Like the reason I asked about their relation is I kind of wanted to be like, is it the Waking Sands, the Rising Stone, and something else? It's like
the other like
all 3 Adventurers Guilds.
I think
sort
the
of,
Waking Sand is
yeah.
all 3 of those though. The same song.
Oh, you think they all use the same
I
song?
think so.
Oh,
They
okay.
could.
I don't think so. Do they?
No?
I don't know.
Well, I haven't been back to the Waking Sands in so long.
The last one escapes me. The last one, like...
Last one's tough.
That very first one I know I hear all the time, and the other two I don't recognize.
But as soon as you hear what it is, you'll be like, yeah.
I kind of want to give up on this one because I just want to know.
We hear of longer.
All right, Gridania.
There's no longer one.
Gridania, Waking Sands, the In Room. What are they?
It goes in order: Waking Sands, Girabanya Town Day, and then Night in the Broom.
Okay.
The last one's from Night in the Broom. Oh my God!
You must have picked a really weird spot in that.
In the Night of the Broom. That song is like 7 minutes long.
It is. That's true.
I knew that the Waking Sands was in there.
You got it though. You got it. And for the last bonus.
All right, last bonus.
This one's hard.
Okay. Okay.
I heard Ultima in the middle.
Okay. Hit it.
Right there.
Ultima was in there, yep.
Ultima's in the middle.
Yeah, I agree with the Ultima in the middle.
The other two, though, are...
Is that that last one from Stormblood?
What uses the violin like that? What's a track that features violin heavily?
Yeah, that does not sound... Oof.
Ooh, this is tough.
Tell you what, I'll make it easy for you because you got the second one right. The second one is Ultima.
Okay.
You're not close on any of the other two.
That's not helpful.
Third one, PvP.
Oh.
Right there. That's in PvP.
Oh, it's one of the PvP.
Yeah.
No, I think you're right.
It is. Okay, the only one that I ever really did a whole bunch of was when you had to run around killing the crystals. What was the crystals? Shatter. Third one, Shatter.
Oh.
Is it a PvP? Really?
Damn. Fuck you.
All right, man.
Yeah, what are they?
I gotta know.
All right, so the first one is Calamity Unbound, which is Binding Call of Bahamut boss fight.
Okay.
Second one is Ultima, as you got. The last one is Zervan Phase 2. Infinity.
Oh. See, that's one I didn't clear until way later.
Yeah, I don't think I would have known.
Taro was saying is Zervan. In fact, he said Coil Boss theme Ultima Zervan. Yeah. All right, Taro. Good ear.
Well, that was a kind of a fun game.
Yeah, it was.
I'm kind of impressed.
Even in the Broom, he said third one is Ishgard Knight. Wow.
I'm pretty impressed.
Yeah.
I'm pretty impressed, Juxta.
And I like to commend myself for making it like a team game, because if it was like you try to guess and you try to guess, we would not nearly have gotten as much discussion.
No.
Good thinking.
Well, except for the 50-50, you did a nice job on the game.
Stupid.
You never phoned an intern. That's sad. Poor Lloyd.
All right. You know what?
The intern was always Lloyd.
I don't know. Give us one of the other ones we haven't done yet.
Just bring Lloyd in real quick. I want to use my phone and intern.
All right, you can go ahead and phone an intern. Lloyd, he is phoning you.
Lloyd?
What?
I sent the 3 highlights to Skuro, but he's probably going to fuck it up. So get a hold of him, find out what the 3 highlights are, and get them on the fucking YouTube.
Play one of
the songs and see if the intern can get it.
Play one of the things.
Okay. Oh.
One of the ones we did.
What is it, Lloyd?
I have no clue.
Then you're fucking useless. Get the fuck out of here.
It's the gate theme from Gold Saucer, right?
Oh my god, wow. Yeah. There you go.
Nice job, Nika.
Thanks.
I didn't think you would get that.
So I just want you to know.
I do gates all the fucking time. I do the stupid Funko one.
We got like 7 right total.
You did get really good.
To be fair, I would have guessed either Bob Marley or like Operation Ivy.
The Chocobo theme's in there. And where else? But it's not the Chocobo theme.
Play it again. Play it again. Okay, yeah, I can hear it.
Yeah, but so like it's
but that upstroke is like straight out of like a ska band. That's the first thing that I thought of. I was like, is this less than Jake? What's going on right now? All right, well, nice job. Maybe we'll like do another game in the future. That was not bad.
Fuck up the Juxta line.
Yeah,
that was great.
No,
they were designed to make you fail.
No,
because I don't want you to win.
Too bad. You got to make it fair.
I want kooky lines next time.
You can't explain it poorly and then execute it poorly and then be like, "Ha, that's an intended mechanic." You're just
why not Square Enix?
You're just Square Enix at that point.
You just said the very definition of a Juxta line. Explained poorly, designed to make you fail. Juxta.
The game's got to be playable, dipshit.
The game was playable.
It was once we made it playable. Anyway. All right, guys, that's going to do it here for Limit Break Radio today. Thank you so much for joining us. Man, it is hot in this studio.
Hot as balls.
We didn't get a chance to really dive into it, but we're still working on the Let's Be Real podcast. One of the things that we're kind of considering right now is putting it a little bit, like debuting it a little bit later this year, so it's not quite as boiling hot in the studio as it is now. So be on the lookout for that. We'll have more information the next time we reconvene for a Limit Break Radio. By the way, I want to thank all of my hosts, Juxtaposition for his awesome game, Nika Kayani, and all of our callers today too, Kyle Landis, and I'm Nero. Keep listening. Limit Break Radio is a production of LimitBreakRadio.com and Bender Media Productions. This episode was produced by Kyle Landis and Juxtaposition. Final Fantasy XIV and Eorzea are trademarks of Square Enix. Funding for Limit Break Radio is provided by Miri Kennett, Nexian Theta, Hirsch First, Talen Vieira, and fellow Limit Break Radio listeners. To support Limit Break Radio, visit patreon.com/Limit Break Radio. Opening music from Daniel Lambie. Listen to Man with a Machine Gun and other great tracks at facebook.com/Daniel Lambie Metal Gamer. Closing music in this episode provided by Husky by the Geek. Listen to this and other great Final Fantasy XIV and video game rock covers and original music at facebook.com/Husky by the Geek. In-game graphics for Limit Break Radio's Twitch stream are provided by Diamond Multimedia. Check out their line of AMD graphics and other hardware at diamondmm.com. Limit Break Radio and its hosts are solely responsible for its content.